Hello, I am Ezra Emmanuel Gonzalez, and this is GE5 code 7774 Science, Technology, and Society under Mr. Edgar B. Retorta. And my topic is Science, Technology, and Nation Building. In this topic, we will tackle about the Philippines, how the Philippines developed, and how science and technology affects the development of the Philippines. To start off, we have the three stages of the development in the Philippines: the pre-colonial, colonial, and post-colonial periods. The pre-colonial period is the time before the Spanish came to the Philippines. During the colonial period, this is the time where the Spanish has taken control of the Philippines, and the post-colonial period is after we became independent or we had freedom from the colonizers. Science and technology in the Philippines started even before the Spanish colonization. This is the pre-colonial period where society, religion, politics, economy, and culture. The Filipino people had already developed under these categories. In society, we had our ornaments, our mode of dressings, our houses, and social classes. In the religion, we had our own religious beliefs, our charms, and our own rituals, especially in the burial of the dead. In politics, we had our own government, our own laws, or the trials, and we had our leaders, the dato, and of course, in the economy, there is agriculture, livestock, fishing, lumbering, weaving, and trading, or what we call barter. And in the culture, of course, we have our own language, we have our own music, our art, our system of writing, which is the baybayin, and we had our own literature. The science and technology development in the Philippines can be seen even before we were colonized through the medicine, the agriculture, and modes of transportation. In the medicine, we have our herbs, and these herbs were used as medicine by the doctors before, using natural and herbal medicines. And in the agriculture development, we have our own way of farming and livestock and taking care of livestock, like we have carabao. We use the carabao for farming, and we take care of the carabao and the cows and horses. And of course, in the modes of transportation, we had modes of transportation either on land or on water, since we used the horses before and kalesa. And in the water transportation, we used to build boats, and to not just for transportation but also for fishing, for livelihood. Now, during the time of the Spanish colonization, they had changed a lot in the Philippines: the religion, education, and establishment. First of all, the Christianity was spread by the Spaniards, specifically the Catholic religion in the Philippines, which is their first goal when they started to colonize us. Now, when they colonized us, they changed and they gave us an education system which was for the elite, or those of higher class, and those Filipinos with Spanish blood. They also gave an importance in the development of health and medicine, especially the doctors, which they gave opportunities for the Filipino doctors, or which helped the Filipino doctors grow more and learn more, become more knowledgeable. And in the establishments, the Spaniards taught the Filipinos a new way, or a modern way of construction and building houses, because before the time of the Spanish, of course, the houses were mostly made with abaca as the ropes, and wood. Now, when the Spanish came, they developed housing for the Spaniards, which they used rocks. They used rocks and mud as cement in order to build these houses. After the colonization of the Spaniards, the Americans came to the Philippines for a short amount of time, and the Americans modernized almost all the aspects of living in the Philippines. They improved what the Spanish started to change and develop in the country, and now most of what we can see in the Philippines is of American influence and only a little bit of Spanish influence. When we look at especially in Metro Manila, there is a lot of American influence, and even our language, the universal language is now English, which is the American influence. We only see a few of the Spanish influence, especially in Zamboanga, where they speak Chabacano, the most different. I could say that it is the most different in all of the Filipino dialects, since when you listen to it, they are like speaking broken Spanish. The Spanish influence can be seen there in Zamboanga. This time, when we had our independence, when we became independent from the colonizers, the Philippines is in its post-colonial period, where President Ferdinand E. Marcos started most of the development of science and technology in the Philippines, where in fact he made sure that the technology is developed in the Philippines. In the 1973 Philippine Constitution, in Article 15, Section 9, he said that it should be prioritized in the national development. The science and technology should be prioritized in the national development. Now, President Ferdinand E. Marcos developed, first is the PAG-ASA, or the Philippine Atmospheric, Geographical, and Astronomical Services Administration, which monitors the coming of typhoons or the atmospheric activities in the Philippines. And then the NAST, which is the National Academy of Science and Technology, and of course the DOST, the Department of Science and Technology. In fact, President Ferdinand E. Marcos developed a lot more, especially in the aspects of and culture. Health and culture. He developed during his reign, during his years as the president, he developed the Philippine Cultural Center. And then, after the Philippine, aside from that, he also developed the Kidney Center of the Philippines and the Heart Center of the Philippines, which is focused on health. And I guess that is all. Thank you. I am Ezra Emmanuel Gonzalez. This is GE5, code 774, Science, Technology, and Society, under Mr. Edgar B. Retorta. That is all. Thank you.